Hey, and welcome back to Silent Screams, a channel where we give a voice to the victims whose stories deserve to be remembered. Before we begin, I need to issue a warning. This case involves the abuse and death of a child. Some details may be difficult to hear. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, turn on your notifications, and remember that every share helps keep the victims' stories alive. There are some stories that leave you asking one question over and over again. How? Why do so many adults know something was wrong and still fail to protect a child? How did warning after warning go unanswered? How did a little boy cry out for help and nobody saved him? Tonight, we remember 10-year-old Takoda Collins, a child whose life should have been filled with laughter, school projects, birthday parties, and dreams for the future. Instead, his story became one of the most heartbreaking child abuse cases in Ohio history. Takoda Hayden Collins was born on April 3rd, 2009. Those who knew him described him as bright, eager to learn, and wanting nothing more than acceptance and love. But after struggles within his family and changes in custody arrangements, Takoda eventually came to live with his father, Al McLean, in Dayton, Ohio. What should have been a new beginning became something far different. According to investigators and court records, Takoda endured years of abuse inside the home where he should have been safe. Authorities later described a pattern of mistreatment that allegedly included physical abuse, neglect, isolation, humiliation, and punishment that became increasingly severe over time. Yet while the abuse continued behind closed doors, signs of trouble were appearing everywhere. Teachers noticed injuries. School staff observed concerning behavioral changes. Reports were made. Questions were asked. Concerns were raised repeatedly, again and again. People sounded the alarm, and still Dakota remained in the home. One of the most troubling aspects of this case is that there were opportunities for intervention. Records later reveal multiple contacts with child welfare agencies over several years. Teachers and other adults recognized that something was wrong. Yet, despite those warnings, no action permanently removed Dakota from danger. Then, in 2018, he was withdrawn from school under the claim that he could be homeschooled. With that decision, one of the few groups of adults who regularly saw him was suddenly removed from the picture. The child, who had already been difficult to protect, became even harder to see. And sometimes, when abuse thrives, isolation becomes its greatest weapon. Meanwhile, Takoda's biological mother, Robin Collins, was living in Wisconsin. Although she no longer had custody, she continued trying to maintain a relationship with her son. In May of 2019, she finally spoke with him over the phone. What she heard terrified her. She later said Takoda sounded fearful. Something didn't feel right. Concerned for his safety, she immediately contacted authorities in Ohio. A welfare check was conducted. But the findings concluded that everything appeared fine. Everything appeared fine. 7 months later, her son was dead. On December 13th, 2019, emergency responders were called to a Dayton home after Takoda was found unresponsive. What investigators uncovered shocked even experienced law enforcement officials. The Montgomery County coroner ruled that Takoda's death was a homicide. As investigators pieced together the evidence, they uncovered a prolonged history of abuse. The prosecutors later described as escalating over the year. The details that emerged in court were so disturbing that many people struggled to comprehend how a child could endure such suffering while so many warnings had already been documented. In September 2021, Dakota's father, Al McLean, pleaded guilty to multiple charges, including murder, rape, kidnapping, and child endangerment. The judge overseeing the case described the crimes as pure evil. McLean received a life sentence and must serve at least 51 years before becoming eligible for parole. Two other adults living in the home were also sentenced for their roles in failing to protect Takoda. Amanda Hens received a lengthy prison sentence after pleading guilty to involuntary manslaughter and child endangerment. Jennifer Ebert also pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and child endangerment and received a prison sentence for her involvement. Yet, even after those convictions, one question remained: how did this happen? How did a child reported so many times remain trapped in the very environment where he was being harmed? How did system after system fail him? Public demanded answers, and eventually, lawmakers responded. Following Takoda's death, Ohio passed House Bill 4, commonly known as Takoda's Law. The legislation strengthened communication and collaboration between child welfare agencies and law enforcement when allegations of abuse arise. Goal was simple: never allow another child to fall through the cracks the way Takoda did. His name became attached to reform. His story became a catalyst for change. But the painful truth remains: that change came too late for him. Takoda should have been worried about homework. He should have been making friends. He should have been celebrating birthdays and imagining what he wanted to be when he grew up. Instead, his short life became a devastating reminder of what can happen when warnings are ignored, concerns are minimized, and vulnerable children are left without protection. Tonight, we remember Takoda Collins, not as a case number, not as a headline, not as a statistic, but as a little boy, a child who deserved safety, a child who deserved love, a child who deserved to be heard. May we continue speaking his name. May we continue fighting for children who cannot fight for themselves. And may we never forget Takoda Collins. If you suspect a child is being abused or neglected, please contact local authorities or your state's Child Protective Services agency immediately. One phone call could save a life. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Silent Screams. Please like, subscribe, and share this story so Takoda's name is never forgotten. Until next time, stay aware, stay compassionate, and keep listening for the silent screams.